Who remembers these? Nobody? Thought not. Hello friends, how you doing? How's your 2019 been? I hope your January was fun and productive and not a total shitfire. Mine was okay, not as productive or as creative as I'd have liked, but that's okay. It's a fresh month now, which means it is once again time for me to fill out a new month in my bullet journal. I've often talked a little bit in my stream about my bullet journal and my methods and my style, and people have often asked to see it and just start try and maybe get a bit of inspiration and learn a bit more as to how it works for me and see if that is something that they could also do themselves. Before I started filming, I tweeted that I was going to be doing this, so I got a bunch of questions for you guys about how to make the most out of my bullet journal, and hopefully I can teach you some of that as well. But before I get ahead of myself, I'm going to explain a little bit to those completely out of the loop as to what a bullet journal is. Essentially, it's a notebook, but instead of like lines or a grid or even a diary, it's just like a dot matrix. Sort of, it's all. Can you see that? It's all dots instead of anything else on the page. What that basically creates is a blank canvas with guidelines. So you can turn that into a table, or you can turn it into lines, or you can just turn it into a doodle, whatever you want to do. But as well as just the style of the page, there's also like a symbology in the way that you sort of handle your to-do lists and your meetings and your dates. It's essentially a self-building homebrew diary that looks pretty. But on that note, the reason I'm doing this video today is that there are a lot of bullet journal guides and templates and stuff on YouTube as it is, but a lot of them do focus a little bit more on the aesthetic side of things. Like, a lot of people like to use a lot of like washi tape and calligraphy and colored brush tip pens and things like that. And I, as a person who struggles a little bit with my attention span, find that those methods don't really work very well for me. And there's people who feel the sort of the same way as well. Those are great methods, don't get me wrong. If you are a person who likes to do the visual part of your bullet journal and you find that that helps you, chase your bliss. You do your thing. This is a video that sort of acts as an alternative to that. So this is it here. This is my second book. I have been steadily and solidly bullet journaling for about 2.5 years. I got my first book. This is it here. It's like one of the original sort of bullet journal styles, like the little embossed logo there by I always get the company name wrong. It's Leuchtturm. It's very Leuchtturm 1917. It's a very German name, and I'm probably butchering it, so I apologize in advance. Well, just no, it's not in advance. I've done it now. The damage is done. I was given this book by my old boss at my job at the time. I was kind of having a bit of a funk at work where I wasn't very motivated with the stuff I was doing, and I wasn't able to focus very well. So my boss sat me down, and instead of, firing me like a normal person, he instead said, here's my method for getting stuff done in the day. He showed me his bullet journal and then surprised me with my own, which was really nice. And to this day, I have continuously filled one in. I sometimes worry I'm depending on it a little bit too much because I am obviously using it to fill in my day-to-day, and if I miss a day, then I feel a little bit kind of spacey in the head, but that's fine. I just make sure that I'm just keeping up with it as best as I can, and I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So I'm going to show you like a visual guide as I fill in my bullet journal for this month in a second, but essentially the way that I break everything down is by sort of year, then month, then week, then day. I've seen some people who like to track the hours that they spend being productive. That shit stresses me out. Absolutely not. But as you'll see as I go through my design in the book, that I tend to just sort of go for like function over form. Like, it's not like pretty, it's not like very well doodled or anything. It's just lines on a page. It's just like written in black pen. But I find that works for me the best. And if that is something that will sort of help you focus a little bit, then stay tuned. The most common question I got vis-a-vis bullet journals was how to stick at it and how to not lose interest after just a couple weeks. And like, the best answer I can give is keep it simple. If you get too bogged down in the aesthetics and the system, then you might just find that it's not worth the hassle. You want something that you can keep using as a reference guide, like once a day, have a quick look, fill it in, that's you done. You're happy, and then it just becomes a part of your daily routine to just keep looking at this little book. Like, ultimately, the only person who's going to be looking at your bullet journal all the time really is you, unless you're sharing it online, which, again, chase your bliss. But if you want something that is going to just act as a reference guide for your day, then keep it simple, and that'll help you stick with it. So one of the most important things to create when you're starting your bullet journal is a key, which is just sort of like a guide of symbols that mean something to you, and they don't have to be what I've written here. You can do something that's sort of relevant to you. The key ones I would recommend are maybe like the first 5 under bullets there, like task, completed, in progress, and migrated. Those are like the default bullet journal guides. The task is something that can be completed or rescheduled if you find that you're not fitting it in your day, and it means that your personal system of productivity is quite forgiving. The signifiers, I don't use that often except for the one that's there to denote that something is important. That's one I tend to use quite a lot because there's stuff that I put off quite a lot until I need to actually get it done. Then I've got like an overview of the year. I started this particular bullet journal in September, so I started from there and then just filled in all the months up till December, and that's just a really really quick overview of things that are coming up in the year, like birthdays and particular events that I need to remember, stuff like that, essentially. Then you get into the breakdown of the month, and this is like my sort of monthly future log. This is probably the most elaborate part of my whole process, where I just block out the month through days, and then goals that I want to accomplish within that month, and then the tasks that I need to do in order to complete that month. With this second book, I've also started using a habit tracker. I'll get into that in a little bit more detail later on. And then just to fill in the empty space, I'm started to make a note of like good things that are happening in the month. So I still need to write my monthly log for February, and I'm going to do that as I talk over it right now. If you're going to buy a bullet journal that you're going to use as a companion for all your stuff, then it's probably worth getting one that's got like a wee pocket in the back so that you can keep sort of stickers or a ruler like the one I've got here, or just any little bits of spare paper that you need to carry around with you. I use the ruler to create underlines and tables and things just when I want it to look a little bit neater, but I try to make this a very self-forgiving exercise, because I'm always going to make smudges and mistakes and stuff, and that is part of the functionality over the form that I like to do when it comes to making my bullet journal, and I hope that that is a system that would work for you as well. So I start just by making a quick note of all the days of the month. I go down like sort of one half down one side of the page and the other half down the other side, just to try and conserve space a little bit. On the second half of the page, I will leave space for goals and tasks. I'll fill those out later on. Those really aren't like super key at the moment for this video. Then next to the dates, I'll make a note of things that I know are happening in the month, whether it's birthdays or events. Usually I'll be referring to a digital calendar that I already have in place for this sort of stuff, but I find it helps to write it down, and it's good just to have it there as a quick go-to reference when you're not like at a computer, you know? I find writing stuff down does help me remember it a little bit better, even if it is already spelled out for me on my phone. Then on the second page of my monthly log, I start building my habit tracker. This is just a good way for me to hold myself accountable for doing basic adult shit on a day-to-day basis every month, like getting up at a decent hour and going to bed at a decent hour. So I'll build myself a little table here. I'll leave enough space for each of the habits that I know I'm going to be doing in the month. So I'll draw up the lines and a 28-day grid for the 28 days of February as I'm doing that. And as you can see here, while I'm building the table, I've done a whole bunch of smudges. You've just got to let it go. Leave it in the past. It's fine. Functionality over form. Now, one thing I've done in previous months is sort of spreadsheet style, use a pencil to shade in every second line just to break them up a little bit better. And if that's something you want to do, then feel free to go ahead. I'm not going to do it right here. So every day I'll check whether or not I've done the thing that the habit denotes, and then I can cross it off and check back at the end of the month to see how well I did. Usually, I haven't done very well, but again, it's quite a forgiving system. It's just a case of holding yourself accountable. Now, this specific bullet journal came with a little thing of stickers, so what I've been doing just for those is cutting them up and then using them to denote the months and not using them for really anything else. So they're just there as a good reference point. Now it's time for a quick overview of this coming week. I like to start the week on a Monday just because that's how weeks work. And what I'll do is I'll create an overarching to-do list of everything I need to do within the week, and I'll try and fit those individual tasks into a day. So things I have to do this week include updating my Patreon page. I've got a whole bunch of stuff I need to do this week if you guys want to check it out. I have an upcoming charity stream that I want to do in the next couple of weeks, so I need to start planning for that. And I also need to do a food shop at some point. Another thing I like to have a quick overview of is things I'm doing on weeknights. So I'll break down every single day of the week and then just mention things that I'm doing in the week, just so that when it comes to planning my like social life, I know whether or not I'm busy. Normally I stream on a Monday and a Thursday. This week's a little bit different, so I'll be streaming on Tuesday and Thursday instead. So I'll make a note of that just so that I know that Tuesday and Thursday I'm not free. And now it's time for the daily log, which is where I just write down everything I'm doing today, and then I won't write anything for tomorrow. That'll be tomorrow's job. So I write down a simple daily task I need to do today, including filming this video, doing my laundry, tidying my room, and doing my emails. I'll also make a note of any social events or meetings that I've got going on later today. But hold up, plot twist, I've already done my laundry, so I can cross that off as done. That's a completed task. I'm filming right now, so I can mark that as in progress. I probably won't have time to tidy my room today, so I'm marking that as rescheduled, and then emails I'll leave till later to figure out whether or not I need to do that still. And that's my daily log. It's super simple. So this is essentially a version of the system that I've been running with for the past 2.5 years. I've developed it a little bit since then, but I am still at its core trying to keep it as simple as possible. And honestly, that has been the most practical method for me, and that is why I've managed to keep at it for as long as I have. Other things that I've done in my bullet journal but haven't included in this video are sort of resolutions for the year, writing down personal goals, things I've learned from the previous year, as well as like my little note of good things. That's something I like to do every month, just like write a little list of good things that happen over the course of the month, so that when it's over, I can look back and just be reminded of some nice stuff that happened if I feel like the month wasn't as good as I thought it could be. So that even if I don't feel productive, at least I know that I had fun. So again, this is a system that I found works for me, but everybody's completely different, and everybody's going to find something that works a little bit for them, whether or not it's creating a more stylistic, aesthetic style or something as simple as what I've been doing. But I would really like to compare notes, as it were, and see what you guys have been working on as well. So if you are an active bullet journaler, come join us in my Discord server. There's a link in the description. You can come. I'll create a channel for bullet journaling exclusively, and you can share your pages and all of the different methods that you use, and hopefully we'll be able to inspire a whole bunch of other people to join in. If you are inspired by this video and you want to get into bullet journaling, my first recommendation for the first step is finding a book that speaks to you. I really like this simple sort of brown leather style with like a pen loop. It's very important because I always lose my pens. But dotted journals do come in so many more styles and colors now. We are honestly spoiled for choice. I've actually curated a list of journals that I found that I really like, and there's a link to that on my Amazon storefront page. That's a thing now. You can find that in the link below. But that's all. Honestly, it is a lot simpler than people make it out to be sometimes, and you can find a system that works for you if that's something that you're interested in doing. And while it is the second month of the year, that's not too late to start a new thing, as long as you are willing to forgive yourself as much as I am when it comes to writing my stuff. So that's pretty much all I've got on the subject. I hope that this was helpful to you in some small way. Feel free to check out my list of recommended bullet journals below. And I also want to thank my patrons Alex Wilson, Tori Anderson, and Michelle F. for making this video possible. Thank you again, folks. Hopefully I'll be seeing you a lot sooner than last time. Come hang out in the Discord and share your bullet journal stories, and I will see you whenever. Goodbye!